Hello everyone and welcome back to New Earth Land, where we're going to make shelter, energy, food and water basic human rights by coming together, crowdfunding land, crowdfunding democratic co-housing that freely provides those things as basic human rights from the comfort of our own homes. So this is something that we can all ultimately act on. There's a lot of information flying around, and of course that's great. You know, we need to be aware and informed about what's taking place in the world, but without any action it's ultimately all meaningless. So if you go onto newearth.land, you can check out exactly the actionable concept I've got in place for this new earth to flourish, for us to move into a world based on true freedom, abundance and well-being for all. But in this series, this video series, this playlist, we're going to be talking about symbolism, exposing some of the occult imagery that most people are unaware of simply because we haven't been taught about it. So let's make a little educational playlist here on this channel. And the first symbol that I'd like to talk about is this one. This is the Masonic square and compass with a G in the middle of it, right? So in comparison with the first degree tracing board in Freemasonry, where the square is actually faced up and the compass is on the ground, this is quite the opposite, where the compass is now ruling the square. So what do these things symbolize individually? Well, the compass symbolizes completion, 360-degree circle, God, right? God is simply the fabric of space and time itself. And remember that the psyche is superimposed onto all these other sort of disparate subjects that we talk about. Remember, all is mind, the universe is mental. So that's what this compass is symbolic of, which is ultimately Godhead, completion, Christ consciousness, Buddha nature, Krishna spirit. The exalted, transcendent state of consciousness that man can actually attain. But on the other side, beneath that, is the square, which is symbolic of base human consciousness, okay, restricted. The square only interacts with the circle if they're placed within one another 4 times. And then that's why we actually have the mortarboard. This is a sort of like state mockery of what they're doing to us psychologically through state education, where the mind is ultimately fractured and rendered incapable of comprehending loftier things, philosophy, extending the mind into the depths of space and time, which of course is the only thing that's really required for us to attain a high level of consciousness. But unfortunately, the square is symbolic then of the beast, right? The 666 simply refers to the hexahedron, the cube, the restricted state of consciousness that we call the ego, and the spirit or the soul is trapped in matter, interred as they call it, which is ultimately dead. The soul has been put to sleep by matter. So when you see this symbol, it's actually putting the compass on top of the square, which means that that individual, or this tradition by and large, is involved with perfection, the perfection of the soul, by way of the Kundalini rising through the 7 chakras. That's why the G is in the middle there, because the G is the 7th letter of the alphabet. So once we balance out our chakras and pierce the illusion of matter, pierce the 7th seal, the 7th heaven, we will see that we are divine. We are the universe itself. There is no separation. This concept of non-duality is ultimately correct at a higher level, but that can only be experienced because a lot of these atheists attack me saying there's no proof and there's no, they need to see everything empirically with their eyes. But when you start to use your inner vision, when you start to use your third eye, the Ajna chakra, beyond wisdom, through visualization, through contemplation and curiosity, remember, as Socrates said, wonder is the only beginning of philosophy. And as soon as you start balancing out your brain in this way, and you become sort of hemi-synced, if you like, and the psychological environment is conducive to enlightenment, well, you start to realize that this tradition has the keys. And that's why in this Masonic first degree tracing board, the woman has the key, because the key is the heart chakra. When you come into a state of harmony, green, the colour of nature itself, colour of balance, begins to root in the mind, and the mind is exalted into Solomon's temple, into the cranium, into the philosopher's stone, where illumination occurs. And at that point, we're said to have a spiritual awakening. And so this symbol is ultimately a symbol of transcendence, a symbol of exaltation above matter. The idea that the mind has now defeated matter. And I believe that's also what George and the Dragon symbolizes as well. Slaying the beast of our animalistic base nature. This can be done, and this can be done when we start spending more time on our own. Start looking up into the night sky. Start looking up into those stars and start to activate your innate curiosity and wonder in the face of a profound mystery. And that's quite a simple thing to do, really, but it's very difficult when you've got phones, you've got technology, you've got school, you've got friends, you've got all these distractions like they show you in the Truman Show, to stop you from making this connection, this profound connection with the universe, this higher order version of yourself. So in that sense, it can actually be quite tricky to even want to spend more time alone. And it's not about spending all your time alone, because of course we're human beings, we need connection, we need socializing, but I feel like it's too much the other way. We're not spending enough time to contemplate and to read and to really stimulate our minds, and that's of course the fruitage of Western education. But anyway, this is just a quick video on the first symbol that I thought I'd talk about on this new symbolism playlist here. So we're going to talk about loads of symbols. There's loads of symbols to talk about. Like we've got this book here, Masonic and Occult Symbols Illustrated. We can talk about all of these things. What does that mean? What does this mean? You know, it's quite an interesting book, really. And the Caduceus, you've got the Caduceus there. We can talk about that one in the future. Yeah, lots to chat about, really. So do stick around if you're interested in this kind of stuff. If you're interested in esotericism, occult, the mysteries. We're going to be raising human consciousness here on this channel so that we can actually create a better world, a better society. I can't do this on my own, so therefore let's just come together. This is what it's all about. Divide and roll is the oldest tactic in the book. But if we come together, we can quickly achieve anything that we want to achieve. But it can only happen when we start acting on our desires. So please check out newearth.land, see whether that you find that interesting, and you want to be a part of a system that ultimately provides autonomy for the individual, so that we can all reach self-actualization. Autonomy in the sense that you won't be controlled in any way, because everything that you physiologically require will be provided for you freely from the comfort of your own homes. And we're calling that post-capitalism, we can call it agorism. Doesn't matter what we call it. The point is that we have to come together to achieve it. So if you're interested in that, then hope to see you around in the virtual space. So yeah, do subscribe, write in the comments below, introduce yourself. My name's Adam, I'm an architect, and I'd like to build these projects so that we can build a better future for society and humanity. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.